Is Five Guys the fattest place on earth? What's going on, guys? Yuri Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. Welcome to another episode of #Winning. And today I want to answer the question as to whether Five Guys, the burger chain, is the fattest place on earth. Now, before you get all your feathers in a ruffle, or if that's even the saying, a couple weeks ago, I was with my son Luca. We went to Five Guys for a burger. Because we like their burgers and occasionally we go there. And I walk in and I feel like I walk into like a Twilight Zone because everyone in there was very, very overweight. Now, I'm not here to fat shame anyone, but let's just be honest. There's a lot of fat people in the world. And I'm not talking about just a little bit overweight. I'm talking about like, why are you at Five Guys when you weigh 400 pounds? So here's the thing I wanted to just, use this to remind you of, is that I felt very, very out of place. Very out of place. Just like someone there might feel very, very out of place at a healthier restaurant. And why is that? Well, here's the reality, is we become our environment. We become the reflection and the standards of the people we surround ourselves with. So if you are surrounding yourself with people who are massively overweight, guess what? Eventually, you'll likely become overweight as well because you are going to emulate the thought patterns and decision-making and choices of your peer group. And that's because we are tribal beings and we don't want to be ostracized from the tribe. Like, just think about this. If your best friends were all 500 pounds, and you're like this thin, muscular, in-shape person, who do you think's going to be shunned? Them or you? You, right? And this is a tribal, again, like we are wired to be like the tribe because if we are not, we're out. And that means death. So again, we don't think about this in those terms, but that's how our brain, reptilian brain, is wired. We want to fit in because if we don't fit in, we're fucked. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because where you are in life can always improve by changing your environment. And I'll just give you a couple examples from my life. I don't really associate with anyone I went to high school with. I mean, maybe we catch up with one or two of my friends once a year at the most. That's it. I have one close-ish friend from university, and that's it. And I'm not saying like I'm too cool for school, but I've outgrown my past. Whereas a lot of other people, their best friends 20 years later are still their friends from high school. And that's fine if those friends have grown as much as you have. But if, again, you're a growth-oriented entrepreneur, if you have a winning mentality, you are rare. You are more unique in the sense of not everyone thinks like we do, right? And that's challenging sometimes because maybe you feel a little bit alone. Trust me, I get it. I sit in my backyard and I look at trees by myself half the time because not everyone around me is obsessed like I am. Not everyone around me believes that, miracles can happen. You can create all this magic in life. A lot of them just feel like victims to the world around them. I don't want to associate with that shit. So going back to Five Guys, if Five Guys is a place where you get burgers, fries, and milkshakes, if you go there enough, eventually that's what's going to happen to your body. You're literally going to just be consuming that shit and you will become a reflection of that environment. And so when I was in there, their burgers are awesome. I'll just put it that way. But the people in that restaurant, I felt so out of place that it was just, I had to get out of there. And again, I'm not saying like I'm too cool for school or what. I'm just saying this is not my vibe. If you think about your business, what environments are you working within, right? What is the soup in which you are spending most of your time? Because if that soup is not filled with nutrients, quote unquote, being successful entrepreneurs who've been where you want to be, you're never going to get where you want to go. Sometimes I'll have a conversation with someone. They're like, yeah, like I hired my friend to be my business coach. I'm like, oh God. Okay. Has your friend built this amazing business you want to build? They're like, well, they're okay. They do some stuff on social media. I'm like, oh, fuck. So you've made a decision because they're the cheapest option, not the best one, right? And it's like, you're going to become a reflection of that standard, right? And I get that. I understand why people do that because it's cheaper. They think it's a good place to start. It's not a good place. You're going to waste your time, right? It's cheaper, but it costs you more in the long run because then you have to do everything else all over again because you didn't do it right in the first place. So we have our Healthpreneur Live event coming up September 21st to 24th. And the reason that we have this event is because it's an opportunity to bring our clients together. It's an event for our clients. We open up a couple spots for health professionals and coaches who are non-clients. If that's you and you're interested in attending, we literally have a handful of spots left. So if you go to the link at the description below, it's healthpreneurlive.com. Check it out. You can apply to join us. If it's a good fit. But the reason that we have this event is because it's very hard to create a success environment by yourself when you're growing a virtual business, right? You might spend most of your time behind your computer. I mean, I do. I'm just being very honest. So I literally have to create opportunities to get out and hang out with other people. Now, obviously during the pandemic, a lot of that was connected over Zoom, etc. But nothing replaces the community and the vibe and the energy of being close with people. That proximity is power. Nothing replaces being in person. And I think it's more important than ever if you're a virtual business owner, or if you want to be spending more of your time online, the best way to build your online business is to spend more time offline. I've shared this story before. Like when I eventually realized, dude, you're not as smart as you think you are growing your business by yourself. Beginning in 2010, I actually attended several live events. And that was my commitment for the year. I said, I have to do this because I haven't done it up until this point. I didn't have the money, but I said, I got to do it. I got to just throw it on my visa and figure out a way. And it was the single best decision I ever made in my life, because all of a sudden I was befriending and connecting with some of the biggest influencers and business owners in the health and wellness space online. I was starting to see what was possible. I was learning from experts, and that's also where I met my first coach. So when you are in and around people, things happen that it's very, very hard to articulate in a marketing message, because there's so many really interesting ancillary offshoot strategic byproducts, if you will, that happen that you can't even foresee. When I go to a live event, it's very interesting. I've been to masterminds and live events, obviously, many, many times. And sometimes we'll start off like, what's the purpose? What's the goal? What's the intention that you're looking to get out of this? And sometimes I'm like, to be honest, I don't even know. I'm just allowing the space to create really cool things. And I'll show you how this kind of works. So when I was in a mastermind about 10 years ago, I remember the session was in the room. Okay, so there's 30 entrepreneurs, and then we're done for the day. Step outside, and I ended up connecting with a guy who was in the mastermind who I hadn't connected with before, and we just really hit it off. And that's kind of like, oh my God, you're also into this raw nutrition space. So is he, blah blah blah, and we connected. And as a result of that, we furthered that relationship. We actually became really close joint venture partners. We supported their business, they supported ours, and we became one of their top partners. About a year and a half later, because we were one of the top partners with one of their big launches, I was invited to a private mastermind that they were hosting. And at that mastermind, I didn't know this at the time, but I walk into the room and there's the CEO of Hay House, Reed Tracy, who's an amazing human. And at the time I was thinking, man, I would love to write a published book. And Hay House was like on the top of my list of publishers that I loved. And here he was in the room. The only reason I was in the room was because I was part of a mastermind initially. I was in an environment where I could expose myself to other people, build those relationships. And as a strategic byproduct, I was invited to another mastermind down the road. So if I had initially come into that first mastermind and be like, what's the intention here? My intention is to meet someone who can eventually introduce me to so-and-so. Like I never would have pieced that together. It wasn't even a thought in my radar. However, I was at this mastermind in New York, small group, 10, 12 people. And obviously I got to speak with Reed. And I said, man, I love Hay House. I have an idea for a book. What do you think about this? And basically what I pitched him was my ebook at the time, which I wanted to convert into a published book. And he said, I like the idea. Send me an email. We'll connect this week. So we jumped on the phone that week, connected. And 2 days later, they literally gave me a freaking book proposal. Like no agents, whatever. And I was like, the advance was, not that great, but it was fine. It got my foot in the door and I signed it. I was like, this is amazing. Hay House is publishing my book, The All Day Energy Diet. As you know, in 2014, it became a #2 New York Times bestseller. That would never have happened had I not put myself in the environment to be around other people that were at a higher level than I was. So I'd share this with you because if you want to be with us in Scottsdale, Arizona, September 21st to 24th, again, this is an opportunity for, if you've enjoyed these videos, literally we'll get to hang out in person. We'll be on the pool together. We're going to hang out. You're going to learn from me from stage. We're going to learn from other clients, our team. We're going to hang out. It's going to be just an amazing, epic 3 days. And I share this with you, again, because if you are someone who values being around other success-oriented individuals, hopefully you'll understand that it's not just what happens at the event. It's the relationships you build with those people at the events. We've had people that have come to the events in the past who never knew each other previously and who leave the event either as lifelong friends, or they start striking these amazing business relationships doing 6 and 7 figures. It's crazy. And this is stuff you can't forecast or put into the marketing. You will build, guaranteed partnerships. Again, value is an extraction game, right? You come to these types of events and you do the best you can to add value and make the most of the time. If you go to these events, you sit in the corner of the room and you run to your room and like hide behind closed doors, obviously not a lot's going to happen. But if you put yourself in an environment where you can be inspired by others, you can learn from others ahead of you, it's just incredible what can happen. So, and that's the reason we put this event on once a year. It's our big annual event. It's mostly for clients, and we do open up a couple spots for like-minded health professionals and coaches. And what we've noticed in the past is like, and I tell this right from stage on the first day, I say, here's what's going to happen when you leave on Sunday. Number one, your energy is going to be through the roof, right? You're going to feel like you're flying. And because of that, your business is going to fly because your business is a reflection of you. And specifically, it's a reflection of your energetic state. If you feel like shit and depressed, your business is going to feel like shit and it's depressed. If you are vibrating high, if you're at a high energy, you're going to start attracting more of that into your world. And because your business is an extension of you and your energy, that's more of what you bring into your life. And so even if there was nothing tactical that you learned, you would simply see an uptick in your business just by being in that high vibe environment. And we've done this event now, 2017, 2018, 2019, so 3 times live in person. And obviously we did it virtually for a couple of years during the pandemic, but this is the first time back in person since then, which can be amazing. Every single time, it's the same story. We get posts in the Facebook group like 2 days later, hey, I just enrolled a client out of the blue, or someone who had reached out previously literally just said, I want to work with you now. And all of this stuff like serendipitously happened. But it's not serendipitous. It's by design. It's understanding that you put yourself in the success soup, that you become a reflection of your environment. When that environment is high vibe, you become high vibe. When you become high vibe, everything else in your world you attract into your life is high vibe as well. And there's a very big difference vibrationally between $100 and $1 million. If you want to make more money, you have to raise your vibration. It's that simple, okay? So anyways, that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right environments. And that's why if you are someone who is health conscious and who values being in shape, you're not going to spend a lot of time with 5 guys, right? You're better off spending time with people who are active, who work out, who do all that kind of stuff. It's really simple. It's not rocket science. As athletes, we always want to play people that are at our level or higher, so we constantly get better. There's no benefit in playing someone who's way worse than you other than it temporarily boosting your confidence. You're only going to get worse by hanging around people that are at a lower level than you. So whether or not you join us at Healthpreneur Live, just find a group of people, a coaching program, a mastermind, whatever, locally, it's wherever, where you are being put in a group with people that are ahead of you. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You need people who make you feel like you have a ways to grow. And if you are always looking to be the smartest cat in the pack, that's not really going to support you. So anyways, if you are interested in applying to join us at Healthpreneur Live, it's September 21st to 24th in Scottsdale, Arizona. The website is linked up below and the URL is healthpreneurlive.com. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.